Welcome back to the program, everyone. It's John Pollock with you. We are getting set for UFC 185 coming up Saturday night from Dallas, Texas at the American Airlines Center. 2 championship fights on pay-per-view, and we are joined right now by UFC Women's Strawweight Champion Carla Esparza, who will be defending her gold against Joanna Jędrzejczyk Saturday night. Carla, how are you?
I am doing great.
This is kind of the calm before the storm before we go into fight week. Certainly, do you feel this is going to be the biggest fight of your career, fighting on a major pay-per-view, defending your championship, and all that comes with the promotion for such a card?
Definitely. Being on such a huge pay-per-view, with such big names like Pettis and Hendricks, it's huge. I know there's going to be a lot of eyes on it. It's a really big deal, so I'm really excited to go out there and put a great performance on.
What was it like for you looking back last weekend, UFC 184? We had 2 women's fights at the top of the pay-per-view. Do you kind of sit back and just look at where women's mixed martial arts has come and how you are a large part of that as well?
It was an amazing experience. I was actually lucky enough to be there, and it was such a great vibe, in LA, and with all the fans, they went crazy. And the UFC, when Weidman fell off the card, they could have easily, switched somebody else on or done something else. But I think it's awesome that they decided to make a female bout the main event of the card.
When you look at Ronda Rousey, all that she has done, all that she has accomplished at this point, do you somewhat put yourself into her shoes of what you want to accomplish and comparisons that are going to be made? Like the 115-pound women's division, this is your division right now. A lot of people look at you now as the standard bearer of that division. Definitely.
I would definitely say that Ronda's the standard, and, people look at her as, because she's, so far, she's, other than, she's been the only female UFC champion, and then here I come along, so it's pretty crazy, and I think she really set the bar high for the women's division.
As you kind of take all of this in, I mean, a year ago, if you were to say, here is Carla Esparza, who at the time was, Invicta strawweight champion, and then going into the Ultimate Fighter house, I think a lot of people favored you to come out and look incredible in the house. You win the tournament. Now you are part of a headlining fight on a UFC pay-per-view. Is this all somewhat surreal to you, or have you settled into the role that you are now a UFC champion and all that does come with it? Is it strange for you still?
Well, to be honest, I really haven't had so much time to settle into being champion. I've been champion for a few short months, not even, I think, 1 month before I got the call about my next fight. So, over the holidays, I was just kind of taking it in, and then, boom, I'm right back into camp. And when I'm in camp, it's just 100% focused.
How much downtime did you get after the fight against Rose in December before all of a sudden Joanna's on your radar and you have to start preparing? Did you want a bit more downtime, especially when you factor in all that came in 2014 with the Ultimate Fighter house? And, I mean, you did quite a lot last year.
Definitely. I had a lot of camps last year. And honestly, I think I had about not even a month before I got the call about this fight. I did want a little bit more time to kind of decompress from such a long experience like the Ultimate Fighter, but, it's a great opportunity came along. I got the opportunity to be on the card with my Ultimate Fighter coach, Anthony Pettis, and I kind of jumped at the opportunity.
Earlier this week, your teammate, Ian McCall, he had some his own observations about Ronda Rousey, kind of just cooling the hype train here. What were your takeaways from Ian McCall, who's certainly a very interesting individual, and I think he is somebody that certainly not one to bite his tongue with his opinions, but what were your takeaways with his impressions of Ronda Rousey?
Definitely. Ian's a character. He's hilarious. I don't really take anything he says too much to heart. I feel like maybe he does have a valid point, as far as men and women go. I think that whole issue kind of got a little bit bigger than it should have, though. I think it was more of just meant to be a compliment and, she could even beat up the guys.
Right.
And I think people took it too literally. And including my teammate, I think if my teammate Ian took it like that literally, in his opinion, man versus women genetics, that doesn't, compute. That doesn't make sense to him. And I get where he's coming from, So, I don't think maybe the way he said it a lot of people took it so well, but, you know, I see where he's coming from.
I've chatted with Ian a few times. I don't know him super well, but I also get the sense he's in the flyweight division right now where there's a lot of guys that just kind of, they want to go out there, they want to fight, they don't really create controversy, and I think Ian feels that he needs to be that guy that is going to say things that are going to get attention, that are going to make headlines. And he is somebody that wants to be that standout personality in that division. And I don't disagree with the idea that you do need to be someone that's going to focus attention on yourself, get that spotlight. Do you ever get that sense that Ian kind of subscribes to that mindset?
I don't think it's necessarily he's trying to, bring that attention. I think Ian's just being Ian. I've known Ian for a long time. And he's just a character. He's funny. He throws it out there. He's an entertainer by nature. And, that's never changed, and it's never going to change because it's him being him. And I think that's why, he does get a lot of attention because he's just being himself.
Now that you've had the opportunity to spend your fight camp preparing for Joanna, what are some of your observations about Joanna? She had a very close fight with Claudia Gadelha the same weekend where you became the strawweight champion. A lot of people going back and forth of who actually won that fight. But where are Joanna's strengths that you've really focused on preparing for this fight on Saturday?
For me, I look at Joanna in a very basic way. She's, a heavy hitter, an amazing striker with great takedown defense, and an ability to weather the storm on the ground and work her way back up. I kind of look at it that way, and I just want to go out there and impose my will on her. She's an amazing athlete. She's the #1 contender for a reason.
How did it feel to get to be part of that big press conference last weekend? Joanna was obviously there as well, just with all of those headliners outlining all of the fights coming up in the spring. To be part of that, that had to have been pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty freaking cool for me. I've never been a part of a big press conference like that. I have been to media events. I did a lot of media for The Ultimate Fighter and, just in the past in general, but nothing on that level of just a big press conference. The closest I would have to say something like that would be the post-fight presser for UFC, but, that this is just on a whole other level. So it was really cool and kind of a little scary for my first one.
Do you have the embedded cameras following you around yet?
They were actually, I think they're coming sometime soon. I think they might actually be here while I'm talking to you or, sometime soon.
And are you kind of getting more used to this, all this attention? I'm sure, being part of the Countdown show, embedded, you'll be doing tons of interviews, I'm sure, during fight week, which I'm sure won't be the most pleasant of experiences when you're cutting weight and such. But are you getting more used to that, or is that still something that you're easing yourself into, the attention that comes with where you are now in your career?
Well, I've been fortunate enough to where I've gotten to kind of have a little bit of taste of that at each level. I've come through the ranks. I fought through Bellator and, kind of went to Invicta, and then they had the photo shoots, media, all that kind of stuff, and then going from that to Ultimate Fighter. It's just been kind of a big progression, which is good. It didn't just all hit me at once. So it's cool. And I think as far as the cameras following me around, I don't think that's something that's ever going to surprise me after being on top.
And final question. I know your close friend, Felice Herrig, she's going to be in action against Paige Van Zandt coming up in April. How's that fight going to go, Carla? Put your analyst cap on for us. I just feel like Felice is on a whole another level in every aspect of that fight. On the ground, on the feet, in the wrestling. Honestly, Felice is just getting better and better. She submitted Lisa Ellis, who's been world champ, very competitive in jiu-jitsu, and I really don't think Paige is going to be any different. I feel like Felice is going to submit her in the second round. All right. Well, we're looking forward to UFC 185. It's coming up Saturday night, Dallas, Texas. Carla Esparza, Joanna Jędrzejczyk for the UFC Women's Strawweight Championship with a successful title defense. Carla, will you be going back to Serendipity for the $1,000 Sunday? Will this become a tradition for title defenses?
I'm not sure about that. I'll have to work out the kinks on that, but it's definitely a possibility. When
I think of Carla Esparza now, I think of that Sunday and how I want to experience this Sunday one day. You have just completely turned me on to this elusive Sunday in New York City.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a must try.
All right. Well, Carla, I guess there will be no Sundays leading up to weigh-ins on next Friday, but we look forward to the fight on Saturday on pay-per-view. Once again, 10 p.m. Eastern. Thank you very much for the time, Carla. All the best.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you.